Peace. Good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Black Friday, and I hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. As always, I am Sir Foul Player of Brooklyn on my new channel Behold, and I'm coming at you with a Truth Social post that was just released by President Donald Trump, and it reads as follows. Any document signed by Sleepy Joe Biden with Autopen, which was approximately 92% of them, is hereby terminated and of no further force or effect. The Autopen is not allowed to be used if approval is not specifically given by the President of the United States. The radical left lunatics circling Joe Biden around the beautiful Resolute desk in the Oval Office took the presidency away from him. I am hereby canceling all executive orders and anything else that was not directly signed by crooked Joe Biden because the people who operated the Autopen did so illegally. Joe Biden was not involved in the Autopen process, and if he says he was, correction, he will be brought up on charges of perjury. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and it ends there. If you guys don't know, Autopen is a machine that replicates one signature with use of a pen. And a lot of times, I actually had something that was signed by President George Bush, utilizing Autopen when I was in school as a young child. I got a certificate, and this claim has been made by the current president Donald Trump that Joe Biden signed a lot of orders, executive orders, and a lot of bills with the Autopen. And the claim I believe he made in this True Social post was that 92% of the orders that he's made were done by utilizing this Autopen, and that they should now be null and void. There's been talks that I believe around 4 to 6 people had access or control of the Autopen. And if you guys remember, during the presidency of Joe Biden, many times Joe Biden wasn't even in the White House. As you guys know, Joe Biden was the least accessible president in the history of America. There were very little instances in which Joe Biden was speaking to the press, in which he was out in public. Most times, Joe Biden was in, Delaware in one of his vacation homes while he was the president. Now, he's probably the president that had the most time not in the White House or on vacation or doing some sort of recreation rather than the work of the presidency. The claim, though, has been made by Congress, by the current president, that Joe Biden had a handful of unelected bureaucrats that were, in essence, controlling the presidency and controlling the White House, and that Joe Biden was more than happy to just do his own thing and not be present and allow these unelected bureaucrats to essentially have control of the Oval Office. In that time, the claim is made that these unelected bureaucrats were using the Autopen to enact many things that were to the detriment of this country. I mean, if a lot of the pardons that Joe Biden signed before he left office, one of which being Dr. Fauci, which I could recollect off the top of my head, a lot of the people that were involved in the January in impeaching President Trump were pardoned using Autopen, if I remember correctly, are now, according to the president, null and void. But also, if you guys weren't aware, because the media has lied to you during the president of Joe Biden, most of that time Joe Biden was lost in the sauce. He was fumbling around. The limited times in which they did put him to speak to the press or to speak at all, he would get lost in his wording, and he would have many issues just walking from place to place, falling over many times, looking aloof, looking as if he was lost, and that couple that with the fact that many times it seemed that there was an effort to not show the president in an effort to try to hide his mental deterioration, which clearly showed that he wasn't with the times. He was very lost in most instances, suffering from some sort of mental decay. Even most liberals who initially, prior to Joe Biden fumbling so hard, having mental lapses during his debate with Trump in 2024, in the years prior to that, during the Joe Biden presidency, if you would bring up the issue of Joe Biden suffering some sort of mental decline, it was dismissed as if one was being conspiratorial, and that it was a conspiracy theory that was concocted by the far right, up until, again, like the debate stage in 2024, I believe in July of 2024, late into the Joe Biden presidency, when it was made clear and present to America and the world that Joe Biden was lost mentally. Having said that, this if he had 92% of his bills and orders signed via Autopen, I'm almost sure that that was a record of documents that were signed by Autopen by any sort of presidency, by any sort of president. And Joe Biden was also the most detrimental president to America when you think about like the push for mandates, or the fact that he opened the border up for unvetted illegal immigration into the country. Also, by the swipe of a pen, making a lot of these people who entered the country during his presidency, which were a record number, into so-called asylum seekers by the swipe of a pen. All these things should be looked at carefully, and many of them should be done away with. Not many things that Joe Biden put into play that were beneficial to the land in which I live in, which is America. I'm glad this is happening now. Donald Trump has been spitting flames in this holiday season. Yesterday, he also released a Truth Social post. I don't want to misquote him, but saying that they were going to go over a thorough review of these people who are in the country illegally. And I'm hoping that they follow through as far as getting a lot of these people out of America, the ones that have entered America illegally, especially those that aren't trying to assimilate or are coming with the agenda that the liberals have purported, in which they are now the new lowest class and should be cared for, and like are these, people that America is now responsible for, when most Americans in this holiday season are suffering financially. We don't have enough to be taking care of people that aren't in America. So I'm hoping that these things are put into play a lot more vigorously. I've complained about that on my channel. If there's one thing that I don't agree with the current presidency, it's the helping of other nations. But more importantly than that, it's the fact that the ICE operations or the deportations haven't produced the numbers that I would find satisfactory. I think there's been a little bit less than 2 million, or a little bit over 1 million deportations, whether that be voluntarily or through other means such as ICE. And if the numbers that the administration currently are saying entered the country illegally under the Biden administration, they say more than 20 million migrants entered during that time frame. So I mean, in essence, if you've only removed 1 to 2 million, that's about 5 to 10% of the illegal immigrants that have entered the country that have been removed. And how hard it is going to be to remove the other 90% when you're talking numbers like 18 million that still need to be removed. And that's just with the people that entered under the Biden administration. And I make the claim that we already had an immigration problem prior to the Biden administration. It just got exacerbated many times over by the Biden open border policy that he put into play once he stepped into office. Again, I mean, and in the True Social post that Trump released yesterday in addressing the migrants or the illegal immigrants that are in the country, he put the number at 50 million, and that's not with that's probably not just counting the people who came in to the country through Biden's open border. That's probably counting all illegal immigrants, and that's gives me a little bit of hope because that's putting a bigger number, which is probably more current and true with the number of illegal immigrants that are in America. So I'm glad something is happening. It seems that this is a conversation that neither Republicans or liberals certainly don't want to have as far as the real count of illegal immigrants in America. They offer very little to America, and right now I think America economically, like most countries, is suffering, and we don't have the ability to help certainly people that are not from this country to begin with. Uh, I think that President Trump is a figurehead that is needed for this time, somebody who's not accepted by the mainstream media or pushed by the mainstream media, and also somebody who's not a politician, so to say. I don't trust the Republican Party, and I much less trust the communist liberals who all vote in the same direction, and it seems to be all voting in a sense of just being anti-Donald Trump. And I believe that a person like Donald Trump, who causes a real true shakeup in the politics of this country, is necessary for this time. Well, with that, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Black Friday. Maybe watch the Eagles versus Bears. But for the time being, I'm out. Peace.